windy at the moment, and I've been asked to look at this bit of road. Below there, it's Boots Owen here. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. On the one hand, it serves about 10 houses. It's a lane. That's the Atlantic Ocean, so it's in what you may call an exposed site, but that's kind of irrelevant. It's had asphalt on it. You can see the remnants here and in the centre, and then it's had bits of what's called Clause 804 in Ireland, or MOT in the UK, kind of put on top here, and then gets these potholes. And they're not really potholes. They are, but they're barely 2 inches deep. They're not a big deal. If we go up here, some of them are a bit deeper. This one's got remnants of water down here, and there's a bit of asphalt there underneath, and then there's a bit of this stuff up on top. Now, here's a deeper one, perhaps. The issue is that what's in here, because it's on the inside of a curve, everything, as the car goes in here and it's wet, it pumps the water into the stone. The stone flicks out here because it's on a bend. The stone's here, basically. So if you get a shovel or a pickaxe and you just drag it across, it fills it up. I'm not particularly in the mood for doing that, and I fancy a trip to the quarry. And I've been to the quarry before, but I've never got stone in the quarry. Typically in England, you buy stone in 1 ton bags and you get them delivered for small jobs. Over here, I called on the quarry today to ask them if it was alright if I rocked up. I'll just interject here. See these big pieces of granite here? Then there's a bit of asphalt there. This is all the road is. Those old bits of granite, you can see there's a rock outcrop. The road is nothing. It's just nothing here. They're probably laid down with a bit of what was Clause 804 at the time, or MOT. Slightly bigger, it looks like 2-inch stone, and then a tiny skim of something put on top to hide those stones, and then a dressing of tar and chips on top. That is at least 30, maybe 40 years ago. That's my guess at it. It hasn't been done. That's getting up for my lifetime. And it's lasted. There's some remnants of where new asphalt's been put in. I'll show you a bit further down where I've put in some new asphalt out of a bag. But back to my story. In England you buy it, and you can buy it here in Ireland in 1 ton bags, and they cost about 50 quid delivered. Or over here, if you go to the quarry, you can get 28 ton or 18 ton tipper, I don't know which one it is, but it's big, delivered for about 250 euros, it's about 200 odd quid. That's a big one there. You've got clay in the centre, quite a lot of earth there, you know, like organic matter. You can see the different layers. The asphalt's come apart. What are you going to do? There's new asphalt put on here because I think there's a telecoms line about 1 inch underneath that. I have a feeling that's why it's like that, because they removed some of the telecoms lines. Either that or a water main. Because it's rock and you're going between what's rock just there and probably going across there, this is just a convenient place to fit the road whenever it was put in. Yeah, so you could get a full tipper load of stuff delivered, but if you ever tried to move 28 tons of stone, even though it is little stone you can put in a wheelbarrow, that's not a job I fancy doing. And in theory, I'm on my holidays. This bit, it's a bit of a downhill here. From where I am, it runs downhill. Grass in the centre, no potholes really, but it's rough. As far as I'm concerned, that doesn't matter. You know, your speed here should be around 10-15 kilometers an hour, but people like to think that they're, you know, racing to the end of a cul-de-sac. Whatever. You have a load of organic stuff along the edge. I'm not really sure why that's there. This bit of road is slightly made up. So back where we were, you're going between a rock outcrop and another rock outcrop. That's pretty solid there, but once you come between that, it becomes soft here, so the road will have come down. It'll be made up out of something, more stones, probably a wall on that side underneath. When grass grows, that catches leaves over time, builds up with more grass and leaves. There's some big stone in there I can see, coming out here as well, like big, I mean 4-inch, that kind of thing. Pothole here, looks to have a patch of asphalt underneath the potholes here. Another one there. The issue is when a pothole forms, it gets water, that continues to pump under the action of traffic. All you need to do here is dig a little slot to the side. You'll still have the pothole, but it'll drain it, so it won't get any worse. Of course, nobody does any maintenance. For obvious international reasons, I haven't been here in a few years, and so I come back and find that, despite the fact that there's 10 people, 10 houses, maybe 40 people who use this road frequently, nobody does anything about it. Technically where we started, back around the corner, I'm not responsible for. I'm in theory responsible for this bit down along here, up as far as around about there. where the grass ends. My bit's pretty good, apart from a couple of bits there. This road here shows you that this road has no asphalt on it, but because it's got a good grade, it's up high, it's quite dry the whole time, and it only takes the traffic from one house. It doesn't really wear out, whereas if you've got 10 times the traffic, you'll get more wear and tear. And you can see just on this corner here, that's where they drive most aggressively, I guess, and that winds up into that pothole. So we are where we are. A couple of little potholes along here. Interestingly, until I put this berm of grass along the side, the cars all tended to shift away from the feature, which is a wall, away and away and away. So the asphalt actually runs kind of halfway up that grass. And if you could get people to drive there, they would extend the life of the road significantly. But because they drive where the grass used to be, that asphalt here has all been softened, and the road has gradually moved that way over time. It is what it is. I'll throw a bit more stone there probably tomorrow. Bit in here, bit in here. It's difficult to see what it's like because it's only about 2 inches deep, but people get upset about things. Little one here, and then down here is where I got this bagged asphalt. This is as far as one bag of 25 kilos of asphalt goes. There was 2 potholes here and here. If I sweep that back with my sandaled feet, that's half a bag, that's half a bag. It doesn't go very far, it's probably an inch thick, maybe a bit more, but the bit between it then goes because the water gets stopped between those 2 pieces, and you're just chasing your tail. Coming on up along here, lots of grass, fewer cars because we've dropped about 3 or 4 houses there in the walk. A bit there. See, the water runs down the middle of the road, it can't get away, so it just ponds in the tiniest hole, and if you've got 1 stone missing, like here say, or a few stones missing, that will become a pothole, and that's the way it is. Further on, signs of moisture here, but people are driving over here, so maybe that's not going to be an issue. Like, it's a very fine line between where the cars are going. Now you can see the road here splits 3 ways. 1 house, 3 houses, but used in different ways. It looks, because the road is wider here, that people tend to take this corner with a great deal of enthusiasm, and so this bit here has quite a few craters in it on the outside where the weight of the car goes compared to up on that hill at the start. And then this bit here, going in here, there's a few more. Interestingly, going down here, people probably take it a bit more gingerly or something because the road narrows a bit. I don't know. But that bit there, or maybe it's just because you can see the rock outcrops here and here, maybe that's quite a solid bit. In fact, it probably is, whereas I remember before this wall here and the house behind it was built, everything over on that side was a kind of a, I don't know, low bog, little pond, something like that. So it used to be that the road was a bit more to the left here, probably to the left of my hand, that line there. So it's all asphalted in 1.5 meters into those bushes. That's where the road was, but when this was built it was all widened. You know, we're talking about quite a rural area here. Nevertheless, so the plan is to go to the quarry tomorrow, fill the boot of my car, which is a Volkswagen Golf, with as much stone as I think is reasonable, which, you know, if I'm going on my own, I'm probably 70 kilos, and the car's payload I think is up to 1 ton. Now, I don't think it's up to 1 ton really. I think if I put half a ton of stone in it, it's going to look crazy. But, you know, in terms of how low it's hanging at the back. But we'll see what it looks like tomorrow. Half a ton of stone. It'll be pretty small really. It's like it's half a ton bag basically. A ton of stone is about half a cubic meter, or slightly over half a cubic meter, so it's not that much. I'll load it up by hand, I guess. They could use a loading shovel, but they would just bury the car with 1 shovelful in the quarry. Maybe a couple of shovelfuls. And I'll just chuck it into these holes, and in a rural setting, that's how you mend a pothole. We'll get there tomorrow. Stay tuned.
Why are you making a picture?
They're putting in big pipes, look.
Wow.
Big pipes and little pipes.
And little pie.
Pipes up here. This road is a bit bumpy on the side there.
Oh,
Maybe they need to go to the quarry too. Let's go up to the quarry. Oh, here it is. Oh, into the quarry. This road's been than the other road.
Yeah. Wow, went to the quarry.
Into the quarry.
Why are you taking a picture?
I want to see the quarry. Look at that big fence to stop you falling in.
Yeah.
Now the road gets bumpy.
There's the quarry.
Quarry.
The quarry.
There's diggers. Look at this for a quarry. Oh, there's a big tanker over there. Now, where am I going to go? Down here to 804. Go down to the end.
What is 804?
804 is this big pile down at the end here. We don't want chips like these. We want stuff with dust mixed into it, so that it sets up into the... That stuff looks better. We said this, let's drive around the back and see what we can see. It's bumpy. See that machine working up on top up there? It looks tiny from here.
Yeah.
Now, bumpy, bumpy, bumpy. There's a bit to dig out of. That'll do me.
What's that thing?
That's a machine. It's a sieve and a grader. So it splits the stuff up into, I don't know, 804, finer dust and bigger stones there. You see the bigger stones in front? It takes the bigger stones out. That'll all be, there must be a pile of stuff that's gone through a crusher that they're loading up into that.
Yeah.
And then the crusher makes it small, and they take the stones from up above there where that digger is up above, and they push them down below off that face, off that stone face there into the ground.
Wow.
And then they crush them up.
Wait, what's that thing?
I'll go and put some in the car now. So it's possibly windy again. Looking out there, that's an island off the coast of Ireland, and the Atlantic is just behind those sand dunes. show you what work I did. I didn't do anything up along there. Kind of wasn't interested. Kind of ran out of steam because you move about a third of a ton or half a ton at a time in the car. You can hear a dog barking somewhere in the distance. And if I started filling stuff like this, it would take 2 carloads just to do this one little hole. And the reality is, it doesn't make the ride in the vehicle any rougher. Well, it's got to be somewhat rougher, but it's not that bad. Down here I filled some of these, and in some instances, like this one here on the left, I gouged away some of the sides so that water can get away out of the pothole. Some here, some here, some here. I scraped some of the centre into that one because it was very deep. Some here, some here, some here. More over here, here, here. And it'll smooth out the ride, but it is quite a pointless exercise.
Can you see the sea, Daddy?
I could see the sea. I can see the sea over here, all the way along. We're going down a bit now. There's the sea on the horizon. Nice wildflowers and heather. Walking down along here. Nothing for this stretch. Some attractive flowers. Errigal, the mountain, is somewhere over in the distance, lost in the cloud. On the left is my little tiny piece of woodland where there's alder and willow and other bits and bobs growing, some birch trees. Back to the street. Another 4 holes here I filled. Noticed afterwards that I didn't fill this little tiny one here, or this one. So I filled this. And the same, I broke away a bit of the side, not much. Another one here, another one here. And it's at this point that there's a house here and a house here, so the traffic reduces ever so slightly. What that means, like, this is a road to one house, and you can see it's just grass, but there's 2 cars parked down there at the moment and it doesn't damage that road. Likewise here, 1 or 2 cars uses that road maybe once a week. It doesn't get any potholes on it. This road here gets used probably a few times a week by a few houses. It builds up some potholes over time. So here's some more bits of gravel that I put in. And they'll bed in a bit, and then some of it will wash out depending on if there's standing water in the holes or not. There's where I put the bag of asphalt, so I've just filled in the gaps with some stone. Really just for ride quality or bumpiness or whatever. A big stretch there, but it's actually very thin. It's just the last bit I had. A couple here. And then down to the end in this big patch here. So you can see pretty plainly, there's a few spots along there. That's into one house, this is into another, and this is down to 4 more houses, but they don't get used very much, so a bit of a tumble down garage and stuff there. This was the main one. That took 1 or 1.5 trailer loads. I don't know if you can hear that noise in the background. That's an airplane at the international airport. About to go to Dublin. So that's it. A little bit of road work. Just to put a tiny bit of stone in here. Maybe that just fell out of a shovel. Is it pointless? Is it worth doing? That's how you do it. Maybe if
say thanks for watching me.
Yeah, okay. Maybe that's how I do it. Maybe you thought it was interesting coming to the quarry with me. You want to say it? Say it loud.
Thanks for watching. See you later.
Thanks for watching. See you later.